Okay folks, long time no see. So here it is finally. I promised you a long time ago, my keto tiramisu. So here's what I got. Right now we're going to make the cookie part of it, because tiramisu usually has lady fingers in there, but that's all sugar and flour. And so what I'm going to do is I made my own little substitute for that. And so I'm going to try to make it. So what it just pretty much is, it's a basic mug cake sort of. But here's the ingredients. I got 1 egg. In here, I got 2 tablespoons of butter, melt it. Into that, I'm going to add, this is my powdered sweetener, my monk fruit. Going to add just a tablespoon. Put that in there, a tablespoon of sweetener, 1 large egg, the whole egg. There we go. And what I'm going to do now is just beat this up real good. You want to beat it until everything is combined and these eggs get a little bit fluffy. All right, so they're all mixed up, everything is mixed up. And into that, I'm just going to add here just a dash of salt. There we go. I know it's a sweet dessert, but you do need salt in it. Give it a little bit of extra flavor, bring it all together. Give that a good mix. And into that, I've got my heavy whipping cream here. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of this heavy whipping cream. I used to use 1 tablespoon for everything. So here is 1 and 2 tablespoons of the heavy whipping cream. Get all that goodness out of there. And what I like to do when I do this in the microwave, this is, of course, this is a mug cake, it's in the microwave. I'm going to put it in there in this, because this is what I'm going to make my tiramisu in. And so I like the cake to be the same shape as the container I'm putting it in. So just use whatever you're going to put your tiramisu in to cook the cake. Make sure it's glass, because it is going to be in the microwave, because you don't want to put a metal pan in the microwave. Anyway, I got that cream in there. I'm going to beat that up real good. And into that, I got some baking powder here. I'm just going to put about a half a teaspoon in there. Let me get a spoon here. There's a spoon. So yeah, just a quarter of a teaspoon in there. Right there, half a teaspoon. This is going to make that cake rise up. And I'm also going to put in a teaspoon of psyillum husk. This is going to keep it moist and it's not going to get slimy because there's very little psyillum husk in there. And so you want to mix that all up real good, because that psyillum husk needs to be mixed up because it is a fiber, so it's going to start absorbing some of this liquid in here. Just make that up real good. And last but not least, I'm going to put some almond flour in there. I'm going to start with 3 tablespoons of almond flour. 1, 2, 3, and this is just blanched almond flour that I get from Costco. It's the Kirkland brand. And so we're going to beat that all up in there. What you want is a nice cake batter. You don't want it too thin. Of course, you don't want it all lumpy either. So I always start with just 3 tablespoons and then I go from there. Because you could always put in, but you can't take out. Okay, so that, that's not quite what I'm looking for. I'm going to put another tablespoon of this almond flour in there. So it's going to be total 4 tablespoons. There we go. Now mix this up and this should get it all good. And yeah, that's what we want. All right, so you can see there, that is just like a cake batter. And the last thing I'm going to toss in there is, I am just going to put a dash of vanilla. Bam. Okay, 2 dashes. There you go. Vanilla, and give that all a good mix. Now you always want to taste it. Everything you cook, always taste it. Perfect. And this, my little glass bowl here, I just took some spray, some avocado spray, and just sprayed it up a little bit there. That way this thing don't stick in here. Even though with the butter it shouldn't stick, but best be safe than sorry. All right. Now it's my microwave. It takes about 90 seconds to cook this. Your microwave might be a little bit different, so you know your microwave and how long it takes you to do a mug cake. So I'm gonna put that in there, give it a good shake up, make it level. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this right here. As you can see, it's all ready. I'm gonna put this in the microwave for 90 seconds and I'll be right back. Okay folks, so 90 seconds later, here it is. Ooh, it's a little hot. That's what we got. Let me see if I can get it out here. My counters are clean, so there we go. See, it's nice and spongy. And we're just gonna sit and let that cool down. As you can see, it came out nice and fluffy, just like a sponge cake should. It didn't come out there, and so what we're gonna do is let it cool down, and then I'm gonna cut this baby in half. So for now, I'm just gonna let it sit right over here on this counter, and actually I'm gonna put it on a paper towel. That way it will, any steam or moisture will get to that paper towel and it won't be all soggy and messed up. And so while that's cooling down, what we're gonna do is we are going to make the tiramisu cheese, you know, the mascarpone, and I'm gonna show you how to make that. So I'm gonna move this to the side, and when I come back, I will have all the ingredients out here for the cheese, the mascarpone cheese, and all the filling, and we'll go from there. I'll be right back. Okay, folks, I am back. So what I've got here is I got 2 eggs, and all I'm gonna use in here is the yolks. We're not gonna use the whites, it's just the yolks. So I'm gonna separate these in here. I will just do it over a trash can. Just give me 1 second here. And all I do is I just crack the egg, put it into my hand, spread the fingers a little bit. And presto changeo, you got a yolk. It's a simple process, a little bit slimy, but it's the best way I found to do this. So I know they make things to do this with. There we go. All the whites out there. And yolk number 2. All right. And so into them yolks, I got some sweetener here. So my Licanto monk fruit, I'm gonna put about a 1/4 cup of this sugar in here. This ain't gonna be powdered, this is gonna be the granular. It's not sugar, it is monk fruit. There we go, put that in there. Then I'm gonna mix it up. And what I got in this bowl here is I got some really strong coffee, again with some sweetener, with some of the monk fruit sweetener, and just about a teaspoon of coffee liqueur. I know there's a little bit of sugar in there, but not enough, because when it's in there, it's hot, and so it evaporates a lot. So that's what's in there is, I got my coffee, my liqueur, and just a little bit of sweetener. And in this bowl here, I got a 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream that I whipped up. And so let's go ahead and get on this. So what you wanna do is you wanna beat this egg yolk and this sweetener and this monk fruit here, you wanna beat it until this egg yolk starts to turn a little bit pale colored. It takes a couple of minutes. I mean, if you want to do this with a smaller container, with a what do you call it, a hand mixer, you can do that. But I ain't doing that, so I'll just edit the video for you. Won't have to be watching all this for so long. Well, what you want to do is you just want to keep beating it until it becomes a really pale white. Well, not white, but it's going to turn a little bit pale. Okay, so you can see it got a little bit paler. It's not white, but it does get paler. And the sugar's mixed in. So now what we're going to do, it's not sugar. I keep saying that, but it's monk fruit. So what we're going to do now is I got 8 ounces of mascarpone cheese here. I get this at the Trader Joe's. I mean, it's like $2.99 for this. Any place else, it costs you $5 for a little 8 ounce. And so, but we're just going to use half of it. So y'all just take half of this mascarpone out. And no, you cannot use cream cheese. Some people say you can, but don't do it. Cream cheese is not a neutral flavor. You need mascarpone. If you use cream cheese, you're not going to have a tiramisu. You're going to have something else. So use mascarpone and then mix that in with the egg yolk. And yes, folks, this is raw eggs in this. Tiramisu traditionally is made with raw eggs. So if you have an issue with that, you can look up other methods of putting this over a double boiler and cooking the egg yolk and this stuff in there, but I don't do that because I like just the consistency of everything before it's cooked. So you just want to mix that all up in there. See, as you can see, it's coming out nice and not too thin, but nice and runny right there. So mix that up real good. You don't want no cheese lumps. Everything be nice and smooth. All right, and into that, we're going to take our cream, our whipped cream, and we're not going to beat that. We're going to fold that in here. Let me get this out of the way. So I got my little handy dandy spatula. And first we just want to take half of that cream in there and fold it. It's not a stirring, it is a folding. Because what this cream is going to do is going to add to our cheese mixture, and it's going to give it some extra fluff. So it's a folding action, and you don't want to overwork it. You just want to mix it up in there real good. All right, there we go. Now we're going to put the rest of it in there. And traditionally they use the egg whites for this. You can beat up the egg whites to a stiff peak, you know, like a meringue, and add them in there. And usually that's what I do, but I just didn't feel like doing that. So for this, we are using the whipped cream. Like I said, just heavy whipping cream. And we're just folding that in there to give this some extra fluff. There we go. And of course, like all things, you always want to taste it. Very good. Very good. Okay, we got that in there. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to start putting this tiramisu together. So we got our little pan there, and we got our cake here. Let me get a knife and I'll show you how I'm going to do this. There we go. I use a thin bladed knife. I got a fillet knife. I'm going to flip that over, and then I'm just going to cut this baby in half. Just like that. Just cut her in half. You want to make sure this is cold and cool down, so you can actually put it in the refrigerator if you want to and get it cold and nice and cold. But you cut it in half, and there you go. You got two little pieces. And remember, right here, we are going to use this to make it in, because that's what we cooked it in, and it is the same shape. So what I'm going to do here, take this, take a little bit of the filling, put it down on the bottom, take some of this mascarpone mixture in the cheese, and put on the bottom, spread it around a little bit. Make sure you got it all covered. And then we're going to take the big part, the bottom part of it, and we're going to lay that right down on top of it. And what I'm going to do with the bottom part is I just like to take the coffee, instead of dip the thing in there, I like to take the coffee in a spoon, the coffee mixture, and just pour it over there. And it's going to get nice and absorbed in there. And this is where the magic happens at. This coffee, this espresso mix, the mascarpone cheese. Let me tell you, you can't get no better. All right, going to put that down there. What we're going to do now is we're going to put another layer of this mascarpone mixture on here. Put it on there. Don't be stingy, we got plenty of it. And then mix that all around. You want to cover this whole thing in there. This is all the goodness. There we go. Put that in there. And what I like to do is I got my cacao powder. Just adds a little bit of a bitter taste to it, but not too much. Just take a little spoon. I got one with some holes in there, and just give you a nice little dash over there. Each layer you put it in there. Just, there you go. Just start putting some, just tap it. Put some chocolate on that. I mean, this stuff is so fantastic. All right, there we go. Put it back in there. Now the second piece, we're going to top it off here. Just like that. And again, we're taking our coffee. You can dip that in there if you want to, but they can get messy. So like I said, just use a spoon, your measuring spoon, whatever you want. Put it in there. And this is all going to soak in there. And this is where all that flavor comes from, that what you associate with tiramisu, the coffee flavor. Now we're just going to put the rest of this mascarpone cheese over there. Just pour it all over it. There we go. Just like that. Into that there. We're going to top it with a little bit of chocolate. Some people say not to do that before you chill it, because it's going to take a little skin and put a skin on there. Well, I like that skin, so I always put the chocolate on there before I put it in the fridge, because I like the chocolate skin on it. It just adds something special to it. There we go. the proper thing to do this with is a sieve. If you got a little sieve, just put it in there and shake it out. Or, yeah, just a sieve. Let's see what I do. I lay it on a little bit thick. And then I just give it a shake around. Cover all the top there. And if you have some like chocolate shavings, you can shave a little chocolate on top of that. So there it is, folks. This is my tiramisu. You can see there, you can see the layers. That's what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a piece of plastic wrap over the top of this. I'm going to pat it down on top of the chocolate. That way there's no air in there, so it's not going to dry out. And then I'm going to set this in the fridge. And the good thing about our keto tiramisu is traditional tiramisu. You have to let that stuff set in the fridge overnight, you know, at least 12 hours to get it to set right. But with this stuff here, since our mug cake is already solid to absorb that coffee already, we just want to put this in the fridge until the cheese stuff is set up. So it's usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours. But if you want to leave it there overnight, it'd probably be just as good. It'll probably be better. So I'm going to put this in the fridge, cover it up, put it in the fridge. And in exactly 2 hours, I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like and taste it and all that good stuff. So I will, in my time, be seen about 2.5 hours. But in the magic of camera, just see you in a couple seconds. Okay, folks, so what happened last night is I was making this really late. It was like 10 o'clock at night time. And so after I finished it, I put it in the fridge and sat on the couch and I just fell asleep. So this did set in the fridge overnight. It's now about 8 o'clock in the morning here in where I live at. But it came out wonderful. I'm going to move this out of the way here as you can see there. If you can see the layers in there, how it's set up. I did cut it, you know, because the first piece, it always comes out horrible. So you want to get a nice piece to show y'all that you can see the layers. And so I put a piece right here, just a corner piece on the plate. You can see all the cheese set in there and the cake absorbed all the coffee and the flavor there. The chocolate set up good. Now, it's about tasting this and see how it come out. Yeah, you can see it slices a little bit harder than regular tiramisu, but that's expected because this is not regular tiramisu. And let's see how it tastes. You know, honestly, folks, if you're not a tiramisu connoisseur, you ain't gonna know the difference between this and when you get in Italian restaurants. But if you are, you're gonna notice that the cake part, it has a little bit more body to it. Like the lady fingers are very light. It's like just eating the cheese itself. But this here with this mug cake in it, the way we do it for keto, it's got a little bit more bite, so you know you're actually getting some of the cake and the coffee and it stays in there. So I'm actually, probably wouldn't ask my wife about it, but me personally, I think I prefer this way better than the original tiramisu because it's got more of a cake feel to it. So folks, there it is, my keto tiramisu. It really don't take a long time. The longest time it takes is just to put it in the fridge and wait for it. But like I said, you ain't gotta wait overnight. I just fell asleep. You can make this before dinner, say in dinner. By the time dinner's done, everybody's ate. This is good to go. It only takes like an hour to set up in the fridge. So hope you try it and I hope you like it. So yeah, you know, all them YouTube things, likes, subscribe, share, all comment, questions, whatever you want to do. And I'll be trying to be more diligent about getting videos up. I know this one's been quite a while since my last one, but things are happening. So, you know, life just happens. And like I said, I ain't doing this channel for a living. I ain't getting paid. This is just something for fun. So until next time, folks, God bless and good eats.